Yes, my viewers, my Facebookers, I just want to reflect on something. Um, I was watching a video that I did 4 years back, concerning traveling to Americans traveling to other countries. I'm not going to really go over all of the videos, but I was thinking about our traveling we put up a plan, so we're going to do vacation and to go other places. This is Archbishop Pat. I'm doing a little babysitting, so you will hear my gran in the background. So I'm just reflecting on things that we have done, and I, my darling apostle and sister in Christ, and I was just thinking of some things, when we decided to do a vacation, or some of us who want to do a sabbatical, and we say we're going to go to a secluded place to go and do it. Or, you've been burnt out a bit by, being in the ministry, and you're burnt out, or with your family, and you decided to take a little rain check and decided to go on a vacation somewhere. Or let's just say you live in a foreign land like myself, and you want to go back to your native country or island where you come from. When I'm looking at it and looking into this traveling arrangement and all the decoys that are being, and the accolades and the tsunamis of life, not talking about the tsunamis of the national disasters preparedness. No, because sometimes, to be honest with you, our lives is like a national disaster preparedness. And we've got to take a rain check on certain things, We've come up now that the algorithm is that you have to make a plan. That's true. We all have known that over the years. We have also come up to the conclusion now, and it's like to an ending of everything that we do now, that we have to, put some dollars aside, some cents aside. And let me just put it in this way. If you live in England, you put some pound, shilling, and pence. You live in maybe in the continent of Africa, we have different, we have what you call rand, we have shilling, we have, you name them. They have the different Ugandan shilling, Kenyan shilling, whatever country you're in, you have to put aside a plan. And this ain't no joke, because I'm laughing, because I'm really looking at how we have become as a people. So we have to make our own advisory plans and planning to how we're going to do certain things. Like, for instance, I normally would have to travel to America to come to a congress of apostles and bishops. So I have to put a plan of how am I going to function, or my little money to eat, and maybe if I have to stay in an hotel, a little money to pay this thing and all the kind of thing. But and what I'm driving at is that we have come to a point in time now that we need to take this thing serious about fundings and funds. It costs even to our friends. It costs. So we need to have a little advisory board putting up for ourselves. Not just the advisory board about traveling destination. No, we need an advisory board in our homes, in our lives, to say that this is what I spend on a daily basis. We have an accounting system for our lives. We have to make sure that we know exactly what we are doing, what time we spend with who, with where, and how. Because it's not just the advisory board out there. I'm really laughing at this. We need an advisory board in our lives. And though a lot of us don't really realize, and we don't want to admit it, some of us who do, but the Bible is an essential part of showing us how it's not a tool. It's a central part of our lives to show us how to put our lives in order. I remember when I became 25 years of age back then, and I was not living in a foreign land, I had acquired $1 million in my time back then. Acquired $1 million, and yet still one would say I was not living any life, because my life was more focused on my children and not on me. And yes, being abroad has caused me to be a pauper, as one would say, but I don't see myself as a pauper. Even though I don't have the dollars and the cents no more, I see myself still as one of the richest young lady around town, the richest grandmother, great grandmother around town. Yet still, and don't get it twisted. If I show you my account right now, I have a zero, but yet still my zero for me makes me rich. So I'm looking at, when we talk about the advisory board, and when we talk about the accountability, when we talk about transparency, when we talk about laying aside for the rainy days, if many of you have ever heard that terms being used, when we talk about being conscious in how we spend what we have, when we talk about setting something aside for our pension, because some of us don't have pension, in the sense that government is going to give us a certain sort of funding when we get to a certain sort of age. And most of us who I'm saying most of us, you see, I say some of us and I say most of us. So I don't want nobody out there to go get it like some people have more. No, it's not that I'm talking about. We are living in a time and an age now that if you ever go into old folks' homes, you still have to pay. You still, even when you catch 90 and you're still alive, you still have to pay tax. You still have to pay every sort of thing. When you stop working, you still have to pay taxes. You still have to pay redundancy. Same way, everything. You're paying redundant even when you're in redundancy. So I'm looking at this advisory thing, it's not just advisory board of saying where you go and travel. You need an advisory board to say don't travel in that destination and don't go to that destination. No, it's an advisory board for yourself. One that tell you that time now to be cautious. One that tell you that your expenditures, what you said we call your income, and the one that you spend outside there. You gotta be careful nowadays of how you use those fundings. You see, though the money is in the bank and it might look a lot to many people, I wish somebody would even send me now $20 because on Sunday is my birthday, for those who are listening. And when I look at it, I don't want no birthday, anything right now for anybody to say happy birthday to me. I don't want to hear that. I said Sunday. So therefore, when I'm looking at all of this, I come to realize that, yes, the algorithm out there, I trust a lot of things on us, pour it out to us and fascinate us with all kind of things. We come on social media, that's true. And because out there, a lot of us are lonesome in our days, and we forget to realize that we need the advisory board in our home. Oh yes, some of us have made taffels on the wall, and we can put up with the stickers on a paper that I'm gonna do this Monday morning at 8 o'clock. I'm gonna do this at 9:30. I'm gonna do this at 10:45. I'm gonna do that at midday. And maybe at midday we will put that we're gonna pray for an hour or two. And some people, they get the opportunity of putting the prayer in process. And then after the midday has passes by, if we have a midday, we begin to continue the worrying. So I'm just looking at all of this and say we need an advisory board in our lives. I listen to foolish men, likewise foolish women. And I wonder sometimes when I listen to them, I'm not downgrading anybody. Because maybe I too have sound foolish to a lot of you as well. So when I'm saying foolish men and foolish women, I'm putting all of us in the same basket as that egg. Because all of us can crack at a certain time, whether we like it or not. It just take a little pinch of a nail, less than a nail sometime, and when we are stick, we realize that we crack. So I'm saying to everybody, because I'm sitting here, I'm doing babysitting, but I'm sitting and I realized because I was looking at a YouTube video that I did, and I was like, advisory board. I need an advisory board in my life. I really need a transparent advisory board. I don't need the invisible one. No, no, no. I need a transparent advisory board in my life. And though we read the Bible on occasions and we read the Bible in and out, and we think that we know a lot of stuff, I come to see that we don't know anything. We're a people of a low capacity. Because if you think that you know, and you sit down and start to look into yourself, you realize you don't know anything. We talk about dementia, but trust me, I realize we have more dementia than the people who we have assumed that has a dementia. We forget timetables, and we forget grace. We forget the arithmetics of mathematics in our lives. We grew up, a lot, they said that those who were born in the 50s to what you call it 70s have sense. Trust me, I come to realize we don't have no sense. I come to realize we don't have no sense. Yes, we may not have this kind of algorithm, but we had an algorithm. Oh yes. And it had pushed a lot of us up to adrenaline. That's why we mess up nowadays, and our children are showing us out. Whether we like it or not, and say, oh, in my house I was so, no. That's why our children are beginning to show the shadow of us on the outside, and we are seeing it. We have come to the conclusion, oh yes, when I was growing up, we used to make cardboard boxes. Even when my children were growing up, we used to make cardboard boxes, and we make those little trucks and cars, and we make kites to fly and all this. Oh yes, we had a sort of algorithm. We didn't have what you call internet. But trust me, some of us were carrying the message and the news out just like the internet these days. The media world always telling us that we have fake news. Did you know all along we had a fake news? Some of us carry out our own stories in such a fake way that now it's showing us, standing before us like a shadow before us. You know, when the sun gets 12 o'clock in the midday and you see a shadow on the ground, we were literally doing it. We need to have an advisory board in our lives. We need to begin to sit down and start to look back in ourselves and tell ourselves that we need to start to do the arithmetic again. Because, to be honest, truth, if I had known what I had known now, then I wouldn't be this stupid. I don't know about you, I'm talking about me. I wouldn't be this foolish. I wouldn't be this dumb. I had thrown precaution to the wind, not realizing that the wind listeth where it will. I'd opened my mouth to say words, not realizing then that word is not wind as I had supposed. Word was life, and life in abundance. I'd never thought in my days back then that time would catch upon me, and I realized it has been upon me long time before I begin to even identify that time was upon me. A lot of us are out there, yes, we are trying to propel the order, to exegete the scriptures in its entirety, to do, and to let others, but are you really honest in what you're telling others? Are you really honest to realize that the advisory board that you're trying to give to others, that you yourself also need it? Do you realize that you have made mistakes and are still making mistakes? I remember a couple of years back, I heard a pastor, and I would call him a pastor, but then we were preaching. On the pulpit, he preached literally like most of us are doing today. But off the pulpit, when we sat together and they were discussing, minus me, but I was still there. I was listening. We had a problem with a family member. They had a problem with a father. We had a problem with a mother. I don't know who I'm talking to out there today, but I tell you that you need an advisory board in your life. You need an advisory board in your life. It's not an advisory board for somebody else, It's an advisory board for you. Just as well, I found out sitting here with my granddaughter. She's lying beside me sleeping. And I realized that I need an advisory board in my life. I need to get back to the basic. I need to get back from where I know I can't change a lot of things in my life. But I realized that I need to get back to the basic. I need that elementary teaching to wake it up in my life, to start to check myself and know that I need an advisory board for me. I need to dump some garbage. I need to dump some garbage. Pastor Anthony, thank you for watching it. I need to dump some garbage out of my life. I need to rake up, man. When you take the rake and you rake up your yard, if none of you know what it is like to rake up grass, rake up the dead bushes, chop the grasses, we need to chop out some things out of our life. We get so deep nowadays that we forget that deep is a place where me and you can't go down, Because if you look at the bottom of the sea, you need even what we're submarine to get down there. So you're not deep yet. We need to start to rearrange ourselves, just like how we set up in our house and we say we rearrange the kitchen, rearrange the living room, we rearrange the balcony, the outside, we have put this in place. We need to get ourselves in order. And I'm saying to somebody out there that we need an advisory board in our life. In Europe, in Switzerland here, and I'm saying Switzerland because that's where I live, they taught us how to recycle. The pans, you take out the labels of the pan. After you have cut the pan, whatever's in the tin, you have disposed of it or you use it or whatever. And then you take out the label and then you put the pans aside. The plastic bottles, the label can come off. You take off the label and you put the plastic bottles aside. Everything is recycled. So why we can't recycle our lives? You see, we will stand up, and don't get me wrong. We will stand up in the pulpit and we preach, we exegete that text and we put in ourselves in it. And I don't know, I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to me, but I just want to share it out there. I will put it out there and we want others to listen to it. We want others to shout where the hallelujah enters in and where the amen solidified and signed and sealed it. But we don't have an advisory board in our lives. We're still carrying the grudge. We still have that depth down, deep down, not turn over section of our lives that is not yet resolved. Yes, we will say, oh, and Christ has made us free. Oh, yes, free indeed. There's not a man to bound you when Christ has made you free. And I don't care what chain they put on you. When Christ has set you free, you're free indeed. You see, it's not the chain that you put on your hands, It's not the fact that they locked you behind the bars and closed it and even throw away the keys. No. It's the fact that you know within you that your advisory board within your life is something that you can look back on and stick and make sure that this one is set. This one is set. Every day or every minute you can stick off one to say, yes, Lord. Because you see, you are not pleasing others, you know. No, you're pleasing God. You're pleasing God. You're pleasing the Almighty God. You're dividing asunder the things within you so that your life can remain a witness, a testimony. So I'm just looking at, I was just sitting down here and I was going through that video and I realized that yes, every country has put out an advisory board to advise their people, their citizens, where not to travel. When you travel, what to abstain from, where not to go, what not to do. But as an individual as well, in the house of God, the people of God, you need an advisory board for yourself. You need to begin to take a rain check to see where tsunamis have come up in your life and ask yourself again, is there one set again to begin to erupt? Or a volcano somewhere that you did not understand in your life? I'm not talking about another person's life, in your own life. That there's a volcano ready to erupt in your life. What do I mean? A lot of time folks has done us wrong. Oh yes, they did you real bad. They did you bad. They weren't good. They weren't kind to you. But you can't change what they have done to you. And let me just put it this way. Even when they come to you and said, I'm sorry. Even when they come to you and said that they are sorry. Does their heart really mean that they are sorry? The citizens in the kingdom of God Almighty understand him, but the regions, they don't understand. That's true. The citizens of God understand him. But do they truly understand? You see, when you have come to the point in your life, and I'm saying I'm talking to me, so I don't know if it goes to you. I look back in my life to see where, and let me just put it like that, where some stones were never turned over. That means, and when I said stone, maybe somewhere along my line someone has hurt me. Maybe along the line of my path to the age that I'm getting, I'm proud to be that age. I did hurt somebody along the line. Maybe along the mile path of line, somebody had neglected me. Maybe somewhere along the line of path, I had neglected somebody. Maybe along the pathway in my life, I refrained from seeing things the way they ought to have been. So when I look back on the advisory board, I start to realize now that I need to take a stand and say, I've renewed my vow to do that which is right. I renew my vow to say I'm sorry and I apologize where I ought to apologize. I need to go to the point where I said to myself that if God has so forgiven me, I ought to be able to forgive others. Not gonna let you hurt me again. But I'm going to apologize even for the fact that you have hurt me. When I look back on my advisory board says that the citizens of a certain country don't go to a certain place at a certain hours of the night. Then I'm going to look into my life and say the citizens of the kingdom of heaven ought not to be in that place where they ought not to have been. I'm going to look back into my life and I said, the citizens of heaven ought not to have made a vow that they cannot fulfilled. The Bible tells us in the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 5, it says, when thou hast vowest to vow unto God, therefore not to pay that vow. Because God has no pleasures in food. When you have taken up your advisory board, if you don't know what an advisory board is, Google it and find out. And see what the advisory board tell others. When you're a citizen of heaven, you ought to have an advisory board. If the advisory board said to you, on a certain time in a certain year, if someone had hold you for certain too long, you can also forgive that person and nullify that. A lot of us can't do that. I want it. They have to pay it back. Yes, there are some things you have to pay back, and you're going to demand it to get it back. The advisory board also has a future on it where it will tell you that love your neighbor as yourself. So we would think now that is my next door neighbor that I can see or touch, but your next door neighbor at times is not the one that lives next door to you. The next door neighbor may be a situation in your life that you thought that you had forgotten about, but you did not forget about because you keep on repeating it over and over again until you have dementia. The advisor board had warned you, put up a warning sign and said to you that when you adventure out to such a path, you will wander. But you put all caution aboard and you begin to travail, and then you tell yourself that you're going to find yourself back in and you can't find yourself back in. My brothers and my sisters out there, you need an advisory board in your life. You need to open it up. You need sometimes to scribble down something with date. I've learned this. With a date and the time when you have said that you would. And you begin. Too many of us don't realize that when we travel to another country outside of our domain, you ought to, let me just put it like this, you ought to go to the your representative in that country to register that you're in that country. Did you not know? It is said in everybody's passport that you ought to do that. So that is to try to show you that when you become a child of God, when you have acknowledged that Christ is your Lord and personal Savior, when you have decided to follow His laws and His command, you need to get down and begin to do the same. I tell you, you need an advisory board. You did not know. You need an advisory board. You see, we can, all of us, I tell you, everybody can get up and preach. Anybody can preach. Anybody can become what they call the influencer. Anybody can start to give you advice. But there's an advisory board that if you follow it, you can't go astray, because you see why? It is made directly for you. It is set in order for you. And the advisory board for you may not be for me. But somewhere in the walking and the following of that advisory board, you realize our path will cross. Our path will cross. Thank you for watching in Age Poku. I don't know if it's a sir, I don't know if it's a man or a woman, but thank you for joining in. You know, every advisor board is for you as an individual. It's stayed at the top advisor board, but it's what you do with it when you get the information. And information help you to get to your destination. And when you're not divert from your destination, you get there on time. You get there safe and sound. Even when others have run ahead of you, you will get there on time. You will get there in the right time. And the timing is just perfect for you. You see, they said that the tortoise is very slow. It's a slow animal. And the hare is a very fast animal. But just like the tortoise, you will take your time, but you are steady going. You won't be huffing and puffing. You will take your own time and you will get to that destination. So when I sat down and I was going through the advisory board and what the advisory board were really teaching, it's, every country has an advisory board. And so does every life as an advisory board. And I begin to just look at it and say, God, I thank you for wisdom. I thank you. You see, it's not the amount of money you will have. It's not how poor you are. It's a matter of focus. And steadfast is your faith. A whole lot of us can dig a hole. But some of us along the line will get tired. A whole lot of us, and you put it, a whole lot of us. That's not in English. A whole lot of us will begin to walk on a journey. Some of us will get tired, and a lot of you have seen marathons. A lot of you have watched the Olympics. A lot of you know how football goes. A lot of you know the NFL netball, ice hockey. A lot of you knows how it is in the swimming. A lot of you knows how it is and determination with the crickets. And a lot of you have known all of that. But your advisory board will explain to you fully well and show you because it's made directly for you. Maybe a thing or two I can pick up from it. Maybe my advisory board thing or two you can also pick up from it. You can't sleep this 2 minutes and wake up back. That's less than 2 minutes, darling. Go back to sleep. Is Grossy making too much noise? 9. Schlaf wieder. Sorry about that, but I'm babysitting, so I've got to pay attention to my granddaughter. That's just 2 minutes, 2 minutes. Because I not so long heard your mouth. And I just close up and now you're waking and you're stretching. Huh? You're just stretching. God's gift. You see, so, when we look at this, my friends, when we look at this, we are children of God. Some of us have put ourselves to what we call atheists. Some of us have put ourselves to be what I can't even pronounce or even say because I don't even want it to be in my vocabulary. We just tell ourselves that there is no God. You see, I use the word imperials. But I want us to come to the realization and the full understanding that what we are doing is destroying our lives. What we are doing is destroying us as an individual life. And therefore, I appeal to every person, get you an advisory board and follow it. If you know within yourself you can't contain, if you know within yourself that you are lacking, if you know within yourself that you have insufficient, if you know within yourself that you are unsatisfied, if you know within yourself that every time you look left, you will make failures, you have made a lot of mistakes, an advisory board is what I would say, get the advisory board. There's everything and for everybody. It is for you as an individual. You see, one of the things is I can get up and I can quote you scriptures. And I can put my point of view out there. But I can't tell you how to use the points that I give to you. I can't tell you how to rectify your life. I can give you steps to follow. But what if you jump one of the steps? What if you decided that you want to take it another way from how I had given it to you? You see, it's all about you as an individual. You have to know how to use your advisory board. It is for all of us. It is for all of us. We stand up a lot of times and we tell ourselves that we are forgiven. Oh, I've forgiven that person. I have forgiven that person. And deep down within you still harbored something against that person. Yes, you won't let them hurt you again. You won't let them manipulate you again. And we can use all terms of words because we don't want them to get that close to us. But then again, you got to make sure that you stand to your word and not allowing what they done to you hurts you that much that you lost yourself. I was looking back in this advisory board, and I realized it said to a certain advisory board and a certain situation. It said, when the citizens go to that country, don't walk at a certain hours, don't go to certain places, don't do certain things at certain hours. Careful of your surroundings, careful who you speak to. Even in saluted hearers, avoid. Don't try not to be alone at certain times. Yes. Get down into the same advisory board and begin to analyze yourself. Make yourself this board for you. Tell yourself on a daily basis, minute if you don't mind, or under a second. And challenge you. Stop challenging others. Challenge yourself. Challenge yourself. Break yourself in pieces. Don't let others break you up. Break yourself in pieces. Challenge you. Only then can you begin to understand what I'm talking about of the advisory board. You see, Christ made himself the perfect oblation for all of us. The ultimate sacrifice for all of us. And if you can't do something for you without tarnishing you, then you got a whole different chapter to open up. You got to realize that certain sort of sentiment is not a sanctification. It's a demoralization to your body, your spirit, man, and your soul. I was looking back at certain things and I realized that we grapple too much. We grope around in darkness too many times. You see, I keep on using the plural word. That is to show each and every one of us that at times we're at that spot as well, just like another person. You can't just put your finger at one person without not pointing to yourself. Yes, Mama. Really now? I thought you went to sleep. So they were right when they said that you don't sleep for long. So I catch you. You see? So we gotta look to ourselves and into ourselves and begin to analyze us. We want peace, but we ain't making any with ourselves. Come to gross. Hold on a minute, my fellow. Yeah. Let Grossy help you. Let that go. You can't be in my life, you know. You know that you're not supposed to be in my life. You're not supposed to be watching. Say, I. Yes, it's I. Yes, I am here. I went to sleep, but I woke up and just needed a 5-minute nap. You see? That's you. Look there. So you see, my friends, we are living in a time, in an ages, a stage of life where things are pumping up fast on us. We have, I don't really like to dress like this doing things, but the time is very hot. You know, we are living in a time and an age where things are popping up on us. Things are popping out on us. Things are jamming us and things are jamming us in and out. The ways in which we have put ourselves need to be rectified. Young like old, have reached to a stage wherein that they forgot who they are. Many, let's just say older folks, not old people, I'm saying older ones, forget to realize that it is their duty to teach the younger ones because they refuse to get old. They don't want even to associate with an age. You know, they don't want to be associated with any age that is off the calendar. The advisory board has taught me a lot. It has helped me to realize now that things I used to do, I know I don't do them anymore. But there are some things I still need to throw away. I need to begin to look at things not completely differently. No, in the same light, but to analyze it in another way. The way the calculation works, if a lot of you realizing in the mathematical world, wherein you see how some countries do the mathematics one way, the same school system, they're doing it through word. They're doing it in another way. Let me give my granddaughter some water. They're doing it, don't put your foot on that. Why you keep on doing that? You know, you keep, come drink this. You don't want any water? Okay, thank you. You know, and they come to the same addition at the ending of the day, it's all equal to a certain thing. Minus, it comes to an equal, and stuff like that. We gotta look at things in a perspective that to tell us that without this advisory board, a lot of us are going astray. You can't do this. Daddy and mommy would be angry. Now, you see. So you starting knowing this too? No, it's not for you though. So we gotta realize that our sense that we think we have. What? There's no way you should be able to do this now. Okay, go back to bed. Thank you. So my friends, let us look at our lives differently. Let us really check our life. Let us look at it differently. Let us listen, it is not a game. This is not a game where you go say, oh, game over. No. Because the time when this game will be over, you are done for. The time when you begin to realize that home, you think that you are adding up. You realize that you have not added up anything. This algorithm that we are thinking about has started a long time ago. But many of you are not on an algorithm, No, because what you call algorithm is something that pumps and gives you a 1 minute adrenaline. And it's not good. Hold on a minute, my friends. My granddaughter is here. So you're not going to see me for a while. We got it. What is it? Okay. We got to realize that we need to step up. We need to really step up. We need to step up. We need to begin to get back to the basic. Get back to the drawing board and look at our lives. Some of us let me just say, we've passed 40. We have passed 50. We're past 60. We're past 70. Some of us are getting up to our 80s. We have older folk, but I'm just saying the young ones, them, in the 70s. And there's no change in your demeanor. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. You're still doing the same thing. Okay, let me give you the water. Okay, let me give you the water. See, you have not changed your ways. You're not changing how you do things. You're not changing the way how you reason. You're just not changing anything about you. You're just sitting there and just doing the same thing repeatedly over and over again. Excuse me a minute. Let me put this phone on a stand. I can't handle my granddaughter. Because she's, oh my God. Because I don't know how to use that is the mommy stand. So let grandma get her own stand. Okay, darling? Yes. Is he? Oh my gosh. Your mommy said you're not yet hungry, so that's good. Oh, yes. But I know you're trying to use a little brain on grandma. But it's okay. Your grandma's baby. Oh, you see. Let me put this up here. Okay, let me see if I can put my stand here. Right, and put it on let it chain to the wall here. Right. So, my friends, what I'm saying to us is not a joke. It's not a joke. We have to take things more seriously than how we are doing it. We are just like an advisory board as telling people that precautious in certain land, precautious when you get to a certain place, precautious, be careful. We walk on the street, and for those of you who live in places where they have stoplights, the stoplight has red, it has gold, which is yellow in a sense, and we have green. And each of it has its meaning. Each of us has its meaning. When you get to the yellow tells you to be careful. You see, the red is a stop. The green is a go. No doubt about that. But when you get to that yellow light there, it is telling you that you have to go at a precise cautiousness. It's at your own risk. Let's just put it like that. It's at your own risk. At your own risk. Why is it not you fussy? Are you fussing? No. I saw mommy fed you when she going out. Yes. It's one of those things. I know. Yes, with this old lady, you can't be bothered. I understand that. This old lady, yes. You know, so we have to look at things and tell ourselves the truth. Admit to yourself that you're wrong at times. Admit to yourself that you're messed up. Admit to yourself that you need to learn. Admit to yourself that you're sitting down and listening to a teacher. Admit to yourself that you don't know anything. You're just there. You need to get back to the basic. Get back to the basic of things. Get back to where you can all start. You know, it's not a matter of starting over. It's a matter of beginning to, what they say, update yourself. And some things, you dissolve them, you throw them away, no longer to keep them. We are hoarders in ourselves. And when I say hoarders, just like how people hoard up a lot of furniture, a lot of clothes, a lot of garbage in their house, it's the same way you're doing in your life. You refuse to let go. You refuse to let things dissolve. You refuse to do it. You refuse. You refuse to tell yourself that it's not that way anymore. You know. You know, you gotta tell yourself that these things don't happen again in your life. You need to stop them. You know, you need to stop them. Because your life can't continue like this. We have bust our brains to catch to a certain things in our life, when sometimes our life don't even need it. We demoralize others. We break others down so much, and we destroy others' lives in the sense of walking. And it's not good for us. It's not good. Come. She did her sleep and she wake up, and I think she want food. No one food. She come over them away. Yeah. So, you know, my friends out there's a lot of things we need to change. There's a lot of things we need to change. We need to change how we do things. We need to change how we look at things. We need to change the appearance of everything that we do, in the sense that if we are in the kingdom of God, let us be like children of God. I thank you all for joining me. This is the Archbishop. I'm sorry for our address, but there's nothing I can do about that at the moment. You know, thank you all for joining, and I hope you share this broadcast. And this is about our advisory board. God bless you all. And those of you are passing through phase, work on yourself. Because, to be honest, truth, we need changes in our lives. From the top to the floor, from the floor to the top, we need to have an advisory board in our lives. And that advisory board is the Bible in its entirety, and the Holy Spirit will guide us forward. God bless you all. This is Moment with Archbishop Dot. Bye.